Hey, welcome to the Lux channel. So I was doing something cool from past couple of days. Then later I thought, let me shoot a video, almost like a vlog, and share whatever I was doing. So this is something about FreeNAS in general. These days, quite recently, whenever I do anything on FreeNAS or FreeBSD, I share it in my other channel, which is the FreeBSD channel. But this time I thought the channel is still doesn't have any videos, neither it I can monetize anything. I thought, let me post this in the Linux channel itself, because it is quite very interesting, and in case if you are doing some research on this, it is very interesting, as I'm going to show you what I was getting into. So I have configured FreeNAS system in my VM setup. Hope you must have seen I have an quite elaborate VM setup which includes my entire lab to build Toffee, as well as I have some servers in the form of VMs, and it has its own internal network and stuff like that. So I have discussed this in few episodes. So what I have done is I have installed an entire full-fledged FreeNAS within the same. I earlier had a prototype or some sort of a proof of concept, which is I was just playing around, and it has each virtual drive has around 30 GB or something like that. But this one is quite different. I started with 30 GB drives, and I have ZFS Z3 pool. So I started with 30 GB, and then I have upgraded one drive, each individual drive to 100 GB, and then I have even upgraded from 100 GB to 300 GB and so on, and slowly I have added extra hard drive and spread it into that hard drive. And since it is quite elastic with the setup like this is when I thought, let me do this video, so that it is quite interesting to share, and you can also build something like this. It is quite easy and reliable, and if you don't have any dedicated FreeNAS system, you can do something like this. It's really cool once you explore how you can do the same. So you can see here, this is the FreeNAS system which is running, and it has totally these drives. So it has this drive which is a 40 GB VM drive. This has the FreeNAS itself installed. The reason I kept for now 40 GB is in case if there is any restriction in RAM or something, maybe it can expand to its swap space. So I just kept it that way, so that it has some room in the future. Otherwise I think barely you just need 10 GB or even less than that to install a FreeNAS. So you don't need so much of the space. So this is the OS drive, and one advantage is if this thing crashes or something happens, you can just keep a backup of this entire FreeNAS installed VM image on a on a different NAS, or you can even burn it on a CD or something. So that's one more advantage. You will have the entire operating system image as well, which is ready to boot, ready to use, not just the configuration of FreeNAS alone. So this is also one more reason to do something like this. You can see here it has all this virtual drives. So let me go to settings and I can show you. Yeah, you can go to storage, and you can see here it has all these drives. I started with a HDD, the naming convention or the nomenclature I started as a HDD 1 to 9, and then I have done the second version, which is an upgrade from 30 GB to 100 GB. I have done one drive. I believe sometime in the past I did some video about this drive upgrade. I'm not sure where I posted. Is that I posted in FreeBSD? Somewhere, yeah, I think this is the last video, upgrade my lab. No, even this is not the one. Yeah, I think this is the video. So this is in FreeBSD. Maybe I can include this link. So I did some drive upgrades in that VM install of that FreeNAS. So I think you can go through and refer the same how I have done in step by step basis, because I was doing one drive after another drive and then booting the FreeNAS, and then whichever drive is deleted you can just do replace with this FreeNAS pool. So I was just doing the same similar way I have done for this as well. So that way you have all this drive. So from HDD-B1 to B9, after that I have again upgraded to C1 to C9 because I have added extra hard drive, and I pushed some of these virtual drive images to that hard disk. So to put this entire thing in perspective, I have done a single slide so that we can better understand. So you can see here, this is the overall stuff which is happening. In this case, I have put like 4 drives, physical drives. The orange boxes represent physical drives. In that, those black stuff indicates virtual hard drive. So you can have one hard drive with 6 virtual drives, you can have another hard drive with just 2 virtual drives, and one with 3, one with 4, any such combination. So I just represented, but still having said that, this is a FreeNAS Z3 pool. So Z3 pool, any 3 drives can fail out of that 9 drives, whether it is physical or virtual doesn't matter. So out of that 9 drives in that ZFS pool, any 3 can fail. So in that case, it is better to have 3 images per hard drive, because if the hard disk fails, you may lose those 3 VM drives, and by replacing the drive, the hard disk, and then create new virtual drive images, you can recover your ZFS pool, you can resilver, and you can get it back in healthy state. So you can do something like that, but I just represented this way. So don't take this image too serious, and don't think that it's not a reliable setup. I know that if you do something like that, it is not a reliable setup, because if in this case, if there is a failure in HDD1, you will lose entire 6 drives, and it is going to screw up your entire FreeNAS install. So it's not a good way to do that, but I just represented that so that it gives that idea. So this way we can spread, and the advantage is, in case if you are replacing this HDD4 with a bigger drive, you can scrap one after another VM image, and then you can create new VM images with much more bigger size. So this is also gives that room for scalability the way you want, and also you can push this VM image from this drive to this drive, and you can just do anything with this type of a setup. It is so elastic, it is like a rubber band actually. You can just do anything you want with a setup like this. So that's where it gets very interesting, rather than doing something on a core dedicated system with a physical hardware. So that's what it is happening around. So I can show my system. You can see here it has 3 drives. One with the OS itself installed, it's a 1 TB laptop drive, and the other one is also a 1 TB laptop drive, and the third one is a 3 TB desktop drive. So you have 3 drives. I have 3 drives, and some of the drives have few images. For example, this drive has one FreeNAS virtual drive. As you can see, it has this HDD-C3 is in this drive. Similar way, if I go to this drive, this has 3 images you can see there, which is C2, C5 and C9. You can just spread across in any order you want, because end of the day, it is, as I said, it's a Z3 pool. It doesn't matter, any 3 drives fail, you can resilver it with replacement of physical hard drive, and then build back these virtual drives. So coming back to this 3 TB drive, this is an exception. This drive alone contains this 5 images, which is, as I said, it is not a good option. Down the lane, next week or so, I may buy another 3 TB or 4 TB drive, and in that new Western Digital Blue drive, I may push couple of these images, and I may do some changes here and there, so that some of the images, as you can see, some of the drives are just quite small. Some of them are 300 GB, which maximum size. Although it's a 300 GB, I left the option of dynamic drive capacity. So as and when it gets new data added, it is going to expand up to this 300 GB mark. So which is why if you go back here and if you click, it shows around 103 GB is its overall size. This is around 102.5 GB. This is around 102.9 GB, and so you can see here it shows the size. This is just 101.7 GB. So if you I am in the process of moving the data, the backup from my Netgear NAS to this FreeNAS. So as in when I was doing, I can see slowly it is getting expanded. All these images are getting expanded. And one more interesting thing is, again, you need to be careful how many images you create per physical drive, because if you create more images, the disk will have some performance issues because it will try to write all these images simultaneously. So it is going to add some overhead to the disk, internal mechanism. So you need to be aware of that. So I'm just doing a test build. It is fine. I'm not going to power this for continuous operation, something like that. As and whenever I need, I may bring up the system, the virtual system, and then I may use, and I keep it. I want to keep this as a backup archival system or something like that. I want to keep this like a snapshot of my other NAS system. So so far it is fine. I managed to move some certain things. These are in the YouTube folder, or in the FreeNAS terminology you call the pools, and within the pools you have this data sets. So these are like data sets. Similarly in the Netgear I have all this folder. So currently I'm moving stuff from YouTube. From this you can see here, this is from Titan-NAS. The Titan is let me go here. So the Titan NAS is this FreeNAS ZFS pool name, versus FreeNAS. This is that Netgear NAS. So this I am copying at the moment. I am copying like folder by folder. So I'm copying from this FreeNAS, which contains all this. So one more thing which is pending is this Linux channel stuff. I am supposed to copy in this. It is quite huge. I mean, it is quite huge. If I give properties, it is quite huge. It is around more than 1 TB or something like that. So yeah, you can see here it is around 1.4 TB or something like that. I may do it overnight, and it may take around several hours. I think by morning or something like that, it may finish copying this entire folder to this FreeNAS backup system. And moreover, here you can see I just created a folder as a NAS-snapshot. So this is like a snapshot of that particular share from that FreeNAS. So I'm copying this YouTube share from there to here. So what I mean is, if I go here, if I click this, it shows all this stuff. It shows backup and documents and stuff like that. So some have data, and some don't have data, but most important ones are this backup, because it has various projects, including my old Trafisk user and stuff like that. And other than that, documents, I generally store clients, NDA documents, and various other stuff in documents. And YouTube, of course, I keep the entire all my YouTube projects, and including my wife's YouTube projects, in that folder. So that's what I was currently doing a backup from here to here, and it is going on very well. I have done resilvering, and one more advantage I see in FreeNAS is once when I was doing some hard drive upgrade in Netgear, it has some inconsistency, and it has some issue with building back that degraded RAID array. And then I was keep doing it for more than 10 days, and then finally it has screwed up somewhere. And luckily, of course, I have done entire backup, so I have to do a factory reset, and I have to purge everything, and I have to start once again, and then I dump back all my backups back to this Netgear system. So that way it is fine, but in the FreeNAS I see it's a lot more flexible. Let's take for example, this system is not like a energy efficient stuff, something like this Netgear dedicated NAS systems. So what happens is, when you are doing some resilvering or doing some sort of a upgrade, okay, in case if there is any power failure, you can safely shut down the FreeNAS system and then you can resume once everything is back up, and it worked perfectly fine. I don't see this is an issue with this Netgear system, and I have even gone through the Netgear discussion forum and stuff like that. So which is when I decided eventually I need to move in future using a FreeNAS system rather than something like this. So in the future I may even buy a physical system, and I may make that as my primary NAS backup device, and this is going to be the snapshot, and this is going to be my other secondary snapshot or something like that. I need to do an entire reconfig of this setup, but so far it is fine. I decided let me use this PC for this, so that it is quick and dirty, and the performance is fine. I'm getting around 300 Mbps per second, which is bits per second. So in terms of bytes, you are going to get somewhere around 27 or something like that, so which is also fine. But I may get more performance as I distribute it to multiple hard drives rather than putting 5 images in one drive. It should not be more than 2 to 3 images per drive, so in that way you will get very good performance. But this way you are limited by basic physics, because the head will try to write in all those chunks, and it is going to have tough time to provide superior performance. So it needs to struggle. So it is not an issue in case if you have and of course an SSD drive, but since SSD drives we get very less space, I'm not interested at this point of time. Of course you can also do one drive, you can add an SSD drive and boost its performance. Yes, we can do all sorts of combinations even with this setup as well. So back to this, if you go to the FreeNAS GUI, you can see here, I like this new GUI unlike the old one. The old one is easy and intuitive in some form, and we are all got used to using that FreeNAS old interface, but the new one is also good. As you get accustomed, you feel it is a lot more easy, and it is quite intuitive. However, whenever you do some resilvering or scrubbing, it doesn't show that live status of scrubbing status or something. So there are some few things here and there, but I feel down the lane they may come up with better GUI. We can understand even this is a beta version. This is not anything like a production ready version 11.2, which is as you can see here, it is beta 3, so which is good. Okay, I started loving this new interface. Initially I had some tough time to understand what is that I'm doing and stuff like that, so I just added an user and I gave this permission to access this pool. So apart from that, you can see in the storage I created just one pool. I'm not sure how this IO cage pool got created. I restarted and then booted back. After some couple of iterations, suddenly I can see a new pool over there, but it is fairly good enough. You can see here it shows each data set how much it consumed, you can see there. And similarly, if you go to even the Netgear, you can see there in the shares, it shows the status of each share. Yeah, you can see here. So some temporarily I moved it in this movies and music folder, because when I do the backup like this, it is easy to do those chunks alone, whenever there is a power cut or something, you need to do all the way once again access. So to avoid, I just kept it to some of them shared here. That also includes some YouTube videos which I shoot, and I kept them as projects which are not so important. Some trivial ones I pushed in that folders. So this is how it is, but I see a lot FreeNAS is very good. This new interface, it is very intuitive than the old one. The old one have all the bells and whistles, but somewhere it kind of confuses us with those extra features and stuff like that. So other than that, you can go to disks and you can see like a physical disk, you can see the serial number. Somewhere it corresponds, it should correspond to this VM stuff. You can go here in global tools. So since I'm using this virtual box, I'm showing the options in virtual box. If you are using VMware or something, you can also get something similar to this. So you can go here and you can click on any of these drives. You can see here it shows this UUID, and you can see somewhere this number should match with this. So this way we can pinpoint if there is any image or entire drive got corrupt, or if it is a catastrophic failure or something. We can pinpoint, identify, and we can replace that troublemaking crashed drives. So you can see somewhere it should match. This is 59cc. It is like this. I'm not sure about this trailing characters. I'm not able to get that exact match, but the initial set I was able to match with this. It is CCE. Say for instance this drive, it is 39B0, something like that, and yeah, you can see here it matches with this. So this way you can find the match. From there you can go to that real physical drive, and this is, for instance, it is in C3. So I can go here, I can visit. Yeah, here it is not there, so I can go here and check. It is not there, so which means this is from this drive. Yeah, you can see here HTT-C3. So this way you can pinpoint and you will know that which drive is causing the problem, and you can replace the same. So this is the main advantage. And as I said, the VMs I pushed in this 3TB drive. So this contains all my live VMs, which means all this. Let me go back here. All these VMs. You can see here there are so many VMs. All these VMs I pushed in this 3TB drive, and this 3TB drive under the servers, it contains this FreeNAS. So this is the entire VDI of that OS install, FreeNAS OS install. This is currently it has around just 1.2 GB it has occupied. As I said, although I gave 40 GB in size, it's just I just gave so that it has enough room in case if I need to use something in the future. And moreover, I'm not a person who uses any applications or anything on top of the FreeNAS. I just want it to be used as a dedicated storage option. So I just want to use as it is, like what I have showed. There are of course people who may use other features of FreeNAS like jails and other stuff. I'm not interested using any of them. I just want it as a very reliable backup source. So that's what it is. So I'm not using this entire it is not consuming this entire 40 GB. It's just around 1.2 GB. So this again gives that flexibility. I can actually take a backup of this entire VDI, and I can push it in this Netgear NAS, and in case if there is any screw up in the OS, I can just replace that image with this, and I'm good to go. So of course you can go to the system in FreeNAS, and of course you can take a configuration and you can take a backup of this configuration, but that means let me just do it. So yeah, so you can download the same, but if you do that, the thing is, in case if something happens to the operating system, you need to again manually install the operating system, and then you need to restore this configuration file, which is fine because it is not a huge size, but since anyway we have the VM, it is good to have the backup of entire VM so that we can quickly restore in no time. So it's just a matter of 1 GB. You can even write it on a CD or DVD, something like that, and you can just restore it, or else you can even keep this backup on a separate NAS as well. So this way you can automate so many things. With this type of a virtual setup, it is a lot more elastic than a physical setup, as one can understand. If you have one more reason why I need to go with this route is, if I have a physical setup, I may need to have external SATA card, and maybe not a RAID controller, but I need an external SATA card so that I can connect some 8 or 9 hard drives. Some it may be these SATA ports may be in the motherboard, and some I need to have an extension card, PCIe slot I need to consume, and you need to have a large cabinet to accommodate everything. So this is one thing. But if you go this way, you can have any number of virtual drives contained within this physical drive. So that's the fun about doing this way. So there are also certain places I watched discussion forums. Some people suggest VM is not a good option because you don't have the smart and other options available. But it again depends how you architect the system. If you more scatter across multiple drives, you can still you are good to go, because one point of time suddenly if the drive fails, and it doesn't matter if it is happening in a VM setup like this or else a physical FreeNAS install. So the problem is going to be the same. Of course you have other options to catch smart errors. Sometimes you can generally go through the system and check the health of any drive randomly and spot any issues or any inconsistencies in case if you are finding. So that is still fine. So which is the reason what I have done is, in the disks you can see here I have disabled the smart. It is quite easy. You can go here and then you can just disable the same. So I have just disabled the same so that it doesn't give any false alarms, and it doesn't do that. It just frees up that resource of doing any sort of validation checks or something. So it is so far working fine. I need to try this. I need to use this for several months or couple of years and see where it takes. It is a nice thing. It is quite interesting because it gives that complete learning curve, something what you can do in a system like this. You can even create some 30 or 40 virtual drives as well, so there is no limit, and you can play around. This almost mimic a large data center storage server. You can do so many things with this sort of a setup. So this gives that opportunity to learn. And last but not least, I don't see much CPU consumption. I have disabled the compression for time being. You can see here edit options. It was enabled by default. I just disabled the same. For now I don't want to enable both ZFS dedupe as well as compression. I don't want to overload this CPU consumption. Anytime if you access this FreeNAS, if you store anything, pull anything from that, it may shoot up. So I just want to avoid, so that it has enough room for other applications in the same system. So everything have to compete the CPU resources. So that's what we can also do a test download or something. I can go to some folder here, and then let's just do some sort of pull. We can go here and copy, and this is in the Titan NAS, you can see there, and we can just do copy of the same. You should understand the same drive also have a FreeNAS image. So of course, as I said, the performance is limited because of this bottleneck. So the more drives, physical drives I install, maybe I can reduce this bottleneck. So you can see here the peak performance is around 40 megabytes per second. Let me cancel the same, and let me try it from Netgear to this, so that way you don't have that bottleneck. It is from external NAS system to this mounted hard drive. So I just delete the same. Okay, and we go here and we try to copy this one actually. So this is a very low spec system which is some ARM Armada processor, which is a very low spec system. I think it has only just one core, this particular RN104 Netgear NAS. So due to which it has some limited performance, although it shows around 38 megabytes per second. You can see there close to 40 megabytes per second. Its performance is quite limited. Soon after some time it should go down. So unlike what you've seen with that FreeNAS download. So it is again matches that performance which is not bad. Okay. It almost gives an impression as if I have another Netgear system, but in this case it is installed within the same system. So it's quite interesting. Let me just stop the same and let me delete this. So which is what it is, and yeah, I think pretty much I have discussed everything. So in case if you are interested in a research something like that, or in case if you are also trying to build in case if you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail. So hope you guys loved watching this video. This is like a casual vlog. Don't expect me to be too professional or so I'm not any FreeNAS expert more than this. I just want to do something as a sort of a reliable setup, and also this is my production system, and I just want to do some trials, because this is anyway snapshot NAS system. If something screwed up, I can take one more backup. That's not an issue, or else I can build it on a physical system this time and purge this entire setup. So I'm not worried about it. But in case it works fine, I may do some trials for a few months or even a couple of years. It works fine, I may always have a setup like this, so that it is quite easy to pull any data without booting my other NAS system as and when it is required. Sometimes I can take it from this any old archive or something like that without getting it from that NAS, all the way booting it and connecting to that. So this system is on, I can just directly pull from this system as well. So there are such ways I want to use the same, so which is the reason I just created something like this. So that's about it. So in case if you have anything to discuss about this, stay in touch via mail. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.